good afternoon. Joelle and Litz here. And today we're making another Pennsylvania Dutch dish. Actually, it's a dessert. And it's called Schnitz pie. Now, I don't know if you watched any of my other videos, but Schnitz is a dried apple. Harvest comes in the fall. All those apples, they can't process them fast enough. So what did the Pennsylvania Dutch do? They would dry the apples, and they would have apple rings and apple wedges, and it was called Schnitz. So that they could pack up or put in a quart jar, whatever, and when they wanted to use it, they could bring it out and make a wonderful dessert. So today I have here about, I don't know, 2 quarts at least of dried apples that I soaked in water overnight. I simply put the Schnitz in the pan, covered it with water so it was completely covered, and now there's a little juice in there on the bottom. I don't know if you can see it sloshing around. I don't want to spill it. And this is going to get heated up and cooked. Again, I'm going to cover this pot so that the moisture stays in and steams those apples. All right, we'll let them cook a little bit and we'll be back. The apples are cooked. When I got the lid off, oh my goodness, they were full to the top of the pot, but they shrank back down again. So now it's time to add the ingredients, of which there are very few. In fact, some recipes call for ricing these apples. You've had perhaps rice cauliflower or other vegetables. Well, some recipes call for ricing the apples, but to me that's a little bit too much like applesauce. I'd rather have it more like an apple pie. So I'm going to leave my rings just as they are, add the ingredients and mix it up a bit and put it into my pie plates. So first of all, what we have to put in is, so that's going to be 2½ cups. And this is a ½ cup measure, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more. 5 makes 2½ cups. Now we need about ½ teaspoon of salt. We need 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And we will need, for my double batch, 6 drops of lemon, if not hard. So what I have here is the lemonade. It's a concentrate, which would be the same to me as the lemon extract. I think that should do it because it came out in squirts instead of drops. Now what we have to do is mix this together so that it's throughout the whole pie. Ooh, you can see the steam coming off those apples. They're hot. And there's a little juice in there from when they were soaking. You leave that juice in there. You don't get rid of it. That's what we cook the apples in. Oh boy, it looks wonderful and smells delicious with that cinnamon on it. All right. We now have our filling ready to go. And what we're going to do, I like to put grease of some sort in my pie plate so the pie crust doesn't stick. I might just use a stick of margarine to go around the pie plate on the bottom. And I use my Betty Crocker pie crust because it's quick and easy. This is really a quick and easy pie to make, except for the soaking of the apples overnight. But if you remember to soak them overnight, it goes really quickly. I'm going to put that in there. And of course, with a pie, so it doesn't get like bubbles and air bubbles in the middle when you're baking, you do want to poke it with a fork. There we go. And we'll do this one right away. Gonna have some sharing to do with two big pies like this. These are deep dish pies, pie plates. Okay. And we're simply going to dish this apple filling from the Schnitz into the two pie plates. I'm gonna make two big pies. The juice is going in there and everything. It'll just cook throughout and taste really luscious. We're getting there. Now, this is a 2-crust pie, so we also want to put a crust on the top. If you're into fancy, you can cut designs into the pie crust, but I think it's all in how it tastes, and I'm not entering this one in a baking contest or anything. So we're just going to put the pie crusts on top like this. Give it a minute to set up there. Get the other one. I'm just going to poke some holes in the top of the pie so that it can breathe, and the juices, some will run up and run back in. That's okay. It all makes the pie good. And I'm going to flute the edges a little bit. I'm just going to fold this down in so it's a little thicker at the edges. Do a little fluting here. You just simply pinch the dough between my two fingers, and that's my fluting. I'm sure there's fancier methods to do it. Okay, flute this one. Okay, now it's a matter of putting it in the oven at 425, letting it bake for 15 minutes, and then turning the temperature down to 325 and letting it bake another 35 minutes. Not too hard of a pie to make, and very tasty. Okay, you just have to let it bake. Oh my goodness, look at these great pies. Aren't they wonderful? We're going to have to let them cool down, but boy, with some vanilla ice cream, they are going to be delicious. I can't wait to have some. I hope that you enjoyed this short recipe and that you'll try it sometime. Again, it's a Schnitz pie. Thank you. Bye.